So this is my sketch that I did on my iPad. I did this with the Autodesk Sketch app, I think it's called. And you guys asked me what paper I use. So for doing my alcohol marker sketches, I use this stuff. It's Strathmore Toned Tan, and it's just brown toned paper. It comes in this sort of mild look, and I really like it because for me it's quite similar to creating a tattoo on a person, because it's not white, because obviously people aren't white. So I find that just connects with my brain a little bit better, and I understand it that way. Some of the lines I've done with a pen, and then these guys in here I've done with pencil. So these are places where I'm not going to be using dark lines. I just sort of butt one colour up against another. And on the paler part of the guinea pigs here, I've used a grey pen, and then on this one I've used a dark grey pen. So these are all of the pens that I've used. We've got my trusty unipin marker for the black lines, and then these Stabilo, like a pale grey one, and then a darker grey one, which are from this set of different coloured fine liners. So now I have my piece of paper ready with the lines on. It's time to start adding some colour. And so here is like a little colour study that I did just as an extra layer on my iPad, so that I can see where all the different colours are going to go. Because I'm doing a portrait of 5 different animals that all obviously need to be the correct colours, I find this way easier to work. Normally I just work directly from a photo and print it out. But it's really confusing with this one, because the reference that I've been sent, it's not just, 5 individual pictures of 5 individual guinea pigs. It's lots of different pictures of sometimes 1 or 2 of them from different angles, and it's very confusing. So I had to sit with it for a little while to make this little colour sketch. So now everything's easy and in one place, and I'm ready to add the colour to my line work. So one of the first things I'm going to do is use my black colouring pencil to go around and add in all the details on the eyes. It means that this way I don't have to add a black line. I tend to like the softer look, and you can, add a black line afterwards if you feel like it. Okay, so I've gone around and I've put the coloured pencil in all of these. As I was doing it, what I'm having to do is flick backwards and forwards between this and the line work, and then this, to make sure I get the colours right, because the guinea pigs are all different colours. Some of them have got red eyes, some of them have got black eyes. I've already started to make a mistake here. I originally did this one with a black pupil, and this one should be red. So what I'm going to do is, normally if I was doing something like this, I would go around and I'd do all the light bits first, and then build it up and add the darker tones on top. I think my brain is literally going to melt if I do it that way. It is difficult to keep having to switch back between line work, not line work, colours. Is it right? It's too complicated. So what I'm going to do instead is, new plan, I'm going to tackle each guinea pig individually, starting with the darkest one, which is this one up the top. These 2 are the darkest ones. I'm going to do those first, and then slowly work my way through that way. I think if I'm just tackling one at a time, I think I'm not going to find it so confusing. Because another thing I've just remembered here is, like, this guinea pig has got one finger that's a different colour. And yeah, my brain is just melting trying to get my head around it all. So I'm going to do it just in one guinea pig at a time. Okay, let's go. Okay, so that's the first layer complete on this grey guinea pig. I like to work quite rough with the alcohol markers just to kind of get the initial colours in, and then I sort of noodle about afterwards, like making all the lines a little bit sharper, making the detail a bit clearer. There's little bits, like here you can see on my sketch, I've left that white, and so that's something that I've just kind of left the whole area blank, because I need to now, like when this is done, go back onto my laptop and just check that I've got the colours right before I go any further. So I think what I'm going to do is finish our... I can't speak. I'm going to finish blocking in the colours on these other guinea pigs. So I find when I'm working with alcohol markers that I get to a point and some of the colours need, like they can benefit from having layers of different types of materials put over the top. So I've got my initial layer of the alcohol markers, and now I'm going to go in and use some various colouring pencils in different colours to go around and neaten up some of the tiny little areas, like areas on their face, sharpen up some of the gradients. So that's the next step that I need to do now. So as I've gone round, I feel like a lot of the brown colours that I'm using aren't as saturated as I'd like them to be. So what I'm doing now is just using my alcohol markers again to go in and tinker about with some of these brown colours, especially in the eyes, just so that the whole piece has got a little bit more contrast, because it wasn't looking sort of contrasty enough for me. Everything was kind of a flat brown colour. So yeah, just going in and putting these darker bits in, I think makes their eyes pop a little bit more. I quite often like to layer up the coloured pencils this way, and especially with the browns. I don't know if it's just the tones I've got of browns, because I don't have that many, but that makes them a little bit darker. It takes a little while to do it this way, but you've got to work with what you've got, innit? So now I've done those bits, I think the next thing that I need to do is go around and make the lines a little bit more pronounced, especially where all the fur textures are. So that's my next thing to do, is go around and make all the furs a bit more neat using my unipin markers again. My last step to do on this illustration is to go around and use a... Oh, you'd have thought I'd have got it out so I could show you. Here it is. One of my black Posca pens, and possibly even this 0.8 unipin marker, to go around and make some of the outlines a bit more pronounced. You can see that the outlines are quite thin, so I'm going to make the outlines a bit more pronounced, and I'm going to also try and think about what I'm going to do with the background. I was thinking about maybe adding some little hearts. In fact, shall I do that now? Yes, I'm going to do that now. So I'm going to first add the hearts using my Pro markers again in some sort of reddy kind of colours that will tone with the pinks in the eyes and bring that kind of colour out. So I'm not adding a new colour, I'm keeping within quite a tight colour palette. And then once I've done that, then I'm going to add the backgrounds and we're going to be done. So I did my hearts, and then I started messing around with my Posca pens. So this is the thickness of my Posca pen. And then I remembered that I've got these like Japanese calligraphy pens. And this is the large one, which gives a slightly bigger line. It gives a bit of a different quality of line, because you can see as you move directions, it doesn't say consistency. It doesn't stay consistently thick. But then, yeah, I guess that's true for the Posca pen too. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and use the slightly wider pen instead of my Posca. These are waterproof, so I could have outlined the whole thing in this. But I tend to like to leave doing the dark outlines, like the big power lines, I suppose you'd call them, until the end. Just, I don't know why. I felt like I was going to give a really insightful reason then as to why, because if I was tattooing it, I wouldn't do it this way around. I'd do all the lines first. So yeah, who knows? That's just the way I do it. So I'm going to go around here, get all these lines in with my big Japanese calligraphy pen. So all the black lines are in. It's time for my last finishing touches of a white Posca pen to do the little highlights in the eyes. I'm going to go around and do a couple of little highlights in the fur. And then it's time to sign it. Here she is, my finished guinea pig commission of a little family of 5 guinea pigs. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video, and obviously for subscribing to me on Patreon. It's such a nice community, and it's lovely to get to make these videos for you, and you guys can ask me questions. So I'm going to go ahead and post this, set up a Q&A now so you can ask me any questions you've got about asking alcohol markers. Making this video has sparked my imagination to make a little video, a short one, of just tips for using alcohol markers. So I'm going to start working on that now, and I will see you over on Patreon. Thanks so much, and see you next time.